Hi, good morning. It's a lazy Sunday morning. I woke up late, like 7 a.m. That's pretty late for me. And as the days of quarantine kind of mixes together, it's Sunday, but it doesn't really, just feels like Wednesday, any other day. I want to change it up. I want to reestablish some weekend tradition of mine. And usually on weekends, not every weekend, but a few times a month on Sunday or Saturday morning, I just want some dim sum. So we're gonna go get some. And there's no dim sum places near me, so we're going to Seattle. We're going out today. Oh, I'm filming outside for the first time since a long time ago. Gotta be careful. Mask and elevator button pusher. So on the way to the restaurant, I get a message that says the restaurant closed. So I called them and no one is picking up. It's just a busy signal. So I think my order's canceled. I don't know what to eat now. I mean, I wanted dim sum, but I feel like now it's not a sure thing if I go all the way to Seattle. So I mean, it's raining, so maybe get a hot pot takeout. I've never done this before. A takeout hot pot. Let me see. So this is Liu Yi Shou, one of my favorite hot pot places, and they do a personal hot pot. Appetizers, skewers, personal beef hot pot, original spicy soup, favorite side, noodle, $13, not bad. Let's also get a lamb hot pot, house spicy soup, vermicelli. Okay, this is the pan fried hot pot. This actually is really good. I really like this. Spicy plus hot. Potato, tofu curd, sliced lamb, sliced beef, gnocchi. Ooh, this is good hot pot weather, ain't it? Oh man, I think I could have got this delivered. It really wasn't an option on their website. Got my food. The rain is coming down harder now. Man, this is like the best hot pot. You know what? I'm glad the dim sum place canceled on me. You know, psh, who wanted dim sum anyway? Not me. Every time I go outside now, I feel like it's such an adventure. So here's what I got. I got 4 personal hot pots. Well, 3 regular hot pots and 1 stir-fried hot pot. And the stir-fried hot pot, oh man, this is definitely greased up. So this is the stir-fried hot pot. I got mine with potatoes, lotus roots, tofu skin, tender pieces of beef. And you can see a bunch of garlic in here, gnocchi mushrooms. This does look good. This is one of the soup hot pots. Oh my God, I think the soup is gone. There's really not much left in here. This is the beef personal hot pot. So you get little pieces of beef, Spam. I mean, it's not a lot of broth in here, but again, you're not trying to drink this. Guess it is what it is. This is a lamb personal hot pot, so it's just like the beef one, except obviously little pieces of lamb. And this is pretty much the same broth I'm using. Finally, I got a vegetable one because my parents watch this show. And I think I'm gonna get a very angry text message if I don't at least get some vegetables. Why are there so many broccoli in here? This is not traditional Chinese vegetable. You guys are gonna have to leave. You were invited to this hot pot party. Go sit on the sidelines and never come back. People don't know why I hate broccoli. First of all, I don't like the taste. I don't. Secondly, you know broccoli is a vegetable that never shrinks. So it'll just sit in your stomach and fill you up with all its nasty broccoliness. Mushrooms and vermicelli noodles. Okay, cool. Whoa, there's meat in my veggie hot pot. If I was a vegan, I'd be pretty upset, right? But as the opposite of a vegan, this makes me happy to find a piece of beef in my vegetable hot pot. And then they gave me this. I don't even know what this is. I'm pretty sure I didn't order it, but they give it to me. Oh, this is their fried chicken. Their famous fried chicken. Love you, Liu Yi Shou. Thank you for all the good food. I appreciate it all. You know what? This just doesn't feel hot pot-esque to me. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't feel like I'm eating hot pot right now. Let me change that. I just bought a hot pot and I just realized I was trying to buy like a half and half, but this is like a split into 4. But luckily I have 4 different food items here, so this is almost like hot pot serendipity. I think you can get away from me, huh? You can slip by. Oh, there's noodles in here too. So one of these pretty much takes up the entire section. 3 waters of personal hot pot filled up an entire hot pot. I feel like they actually give you a lot because this could easily feed 4 people. Now I'm gonna make my dipping sauce. Barbecue sauce, sesame, soy sauce, vinegar, a little bit of hot oil. Be careful with this, okay? Tiny bit of sugar. Some hot pot, some chrysanthemum tea. I am ready to start the day. We'll try a piece of the, the meat that's in the vegetables. Anytime I'm in a bad mood, hot pot really is the ultimate comfort food for Chinese people. Ultimate comfort food. Nothing more comforting, nothing more fulfilling than this. Oh, forgot about sesame oil and my dipping sauce. I know noodles are typically saved for the end of hot pot, but I don't want it to go all soggy. Well, it's kind of going soggy. That's not good. I don't even know which one I love more. The soup hot pot or the dry hot pot. The beef here, this is so amazingly tender. Oh my God. And then gave me some of their famous fried chicken. Oh, it's still crispy. And you dip it in their chili sauce. One Chinese word to describe this would be shuang, which just means that it's so freaking fulfilling. You know what? I'm sorry to have questioned anything. When it comes to the grand plans of the food gods, there are no mistakes. I just wasn't meant to have dim sum today. You know how like you don't find the love of your life? You don't know when a relationship where a person is perfectly compatible with you until you met them, until you engage with them, then you're like, how could I ever live without this person? That's how I feel about this hot pot today. Now that I've had it, I can't believe I was gonna eat anything else today. All right, let's get into our story time. And I've gotten so many story submissions from you guys. Thank you so much. If you wanna keep doing that, strictlydumpling@gmail.com and tell me the scariest thing that ever happened to you or that you've heard about. And that's also the reason we're doing 2 scary story times, one after another, is because I've been getting so many great submissions. So thank you so much and keep them coming. I'm sorry if I can't get to your submission. I really try to read as many of them as I can, and then sometimes like maybe late at night I'm going through these videos and I'm just like, yeah, I need an Animal Crossing break. I need something really wholesome to fill the darkness that is now in my heart. Hope that's not how you guys feel about these scary storytime videos though. I do try to make them light and scary at the same time, so I know there's some of you out there who don't particularly like these type of stories, so I try to be mindful. Anyway, you guys got food in front of you? That's like a requirement for these story times. You gotta have food in front of you. You gotta be eating with me. Even if it's like 1 o'clock in the morning right now, you're feeling hungry, this can be your excuse. Calorie counts during story time, just like during vacations, doesn't apply. Anyway, this story was sent to me from a person who wanted to remain anonymous. And obviously it's not a story that happened to her, it's just a story that she heard. And I just read it and I thought it was a really good story, so I want to tell you guys. So there was this girl. She was a ballerina dancer and this is her passion. She loved doing it. This is what she wanted to do ever since she was a little girl. She's been practicing her whole life. Her goal is to be a professional ballerina. And she was living in a big city with a professional dance studio and she was going to classes every day. I had a group of friends who shared the same passion, the same love for ballet, and she was really, really comfortable. But one day, unfortunately, her dad lost her job and the family had to move to a smaller town. They couldn't afford to live in the city anymore. So they moved to this little town in the middle of nowhere where her dad was able to get a job. And of course, she was so sad to leave all her friends behind, her instructors. So she really, really hoped that there would be a ballet class or some type of program in the little town that she was going to. So it was really, really sad when they got to the new town that she realized just how small it was. And when she went online to look for dance classes or ballet classes that might have been offered in the local area, she found nothing. So the only thing she could do was practice on her own. And that's what she did all summer. And she felt pretty lonely because it's a new town. She doesn't know anybody. She has no friends. So that's what she did all summer. And of course, she was pretty miserable. And finally, she was so excited that the new school year was starting. So she goes to school and she's thinking, I'm gonna make some friends and maybe some of them are dancers as well. We can practice together. But just her luck, her first day of school went horribly. People were not nice to her. Nobody made an effort to try to get to know her. Nobody tried to become her friend. Again, she was so miserable. But the next day, when she went back to school, all of a sudden a group of girls approached her. And to her surprise and delight, they were the most popular, most beautiful girls in the school. And what's even more amazing is that they loved ballet as well. She was so happy to have met these girls. And that day was a Friday, so the girls were asking her what she was doing this weekend. She said, of course, she had no plans. So they asked her if she wanted to go dance at a nearby studio and just have like an overnight ballet dancing / sleepover kind of thing. Those exist, right? I don't know. So she happily accepted. That day after school, she ran home, packed all her dancing clothes, packed the sleeping bag, told her parents she was gonna be gone the whole night, and started driving to the location where the girls said the dance studio was. So she put in the address of the studio in her GPS, she started driving, and she realized that the studio was located way outside of town. But she didn't think anything of it, so she was following the GPS, following the instructions, and finally it said to turn down this gravel road. So she called one of the girls just to make sure she was going the right way. The girl who invited her picked up and told her, yeah, it's fine, the studio is located a ways down this gravel road, and we're already here, so hurry up. So the girl felt pretty reassured and she started driving down this road. About 2 minutes later, her phone beeped and she realized she no longer had cell service. Again, that feeling of uneasiness, the feeling of dread started creeping up her spine as she kept driving down the gravel road. But to her relief, she saw a building in the distance and several cars parked right in front of it. And she saw all her new friends standing in the doorway of the old building. So she drives up, they greet her, and then they ask her to come inside. When she walked inside, she realized that the building was an old dance studio with a long hallway and a couple of rooms where people used to dance. But the whole thing looked so ransacked and worn down. So her friends told her to go inside, go down the hallway, and put the bag in the room next to all their stuff. So she went inside and proceeded to drop off her bag. But when she walked into the room where everyone else's stuff should have been, nothing was there. It was an empty room. So she called down the hallway, hey, where's you guys' stuff? But all she heard was girls laughing and a padlock snapping shut on the front door. This is like Mean Girls, a horror movie. The girl panics and starts running to the front door. And she saw all the other girls outside staring through the barred window at her. And when she shook the door, it wouldn't open. It was padlocked shut. So she screamed at them, asking them to let her out. But the other girls just laughed at her, told her to have a great dance session, and that they would be by the next morning to let her out. Then they told her that the dance studio had burned down years ago with dancers inside killing several of them. And that's why it was closed, and that's why nobody even lives around this area. And as they drove away, they screamed at her, have fun sleeping with the ghost. The girl was so scared, she cried and begged to be let out. But the other girls again just laughed and told her that they would be back the next morning. The girl screamed, shook the door, banged on the windows to no avail as the other cars pulled away. She put out her phone. No reception. And it was getting dark and cold. She ran around checking all the windows. Every one of them had been barred up and there's no way that she could get out. So the only thing she could do was take all her stuff, go back to the room down the hall, and spend the night. When she walked into the room, the sun has completely set. It was pitch black, not even moonlight. It was just a pure, dark, and cold night. So she took her phone out and turned on the flashlight and she just sat in a corner. But then she got way too scared. So then she decided that she would just dance, make the best of a bad situation. She would just practice ballet. That was her happy place. And she was happy to see that there was a mirror in the room. So she turned on the flashlight, put it on the ground, and just started dancing in front of the mirror. And as she was dancing, her fears faded away. And she realized she was dancing better than she ever had in her life. Her reflection in the mirror showed someone who was so incredibly skilled, so dynamic, so graceful, so beautiful that it surprised even her. Eventually, she tired herself out, so she turned off the light and went to sleep. When she woke up, the sun was shining through the windows, the birds were chirping. It was finally morning. She heard the sound of a lock being opened in the front door, so she grabbed her stuff, ran out to confront the girls. She screamed at them, but again, they just laughed and said it was just a prank. It's no harm done. We told you it was haunted, but it's not really haunted. There's no such thing as ghosts. Eventually, she was able to calm down. The girls asked her, how was last night? So she told them, yeah, it was really, really scary, but I danced in front of the mirror for hours and then I fell asleep, so I guess it wasn't too bad. All of a sudden, she looked around and she sees the blood flush out of every one of the girls' face. They all look so deathly pale, just staring at her. So she asked them, why? What's wrong? But eventually, one of the girls, the leader of the group, looks at her and says in a very shaky voice, there are no mirrors in that building. Of course, the girl couldn't believe it because she danced in front of the mirror the whole night. How could there not be a mirror? She saw her reflection. She saw how graceful she was, how beautiful and elegant she looked. So she said, no, you guys are mistaken. Let me show you the room. So they all go back inside the dance studio and she takes them to the room where she spent the night. And she points to the wall where the mirror was supposed to be. But all there was a brick wall. Corn is so good at Hotpot. So I guess the moral of the story is, never believe pretty girls. And like if you're ever looking in the mirror, you're lifting weights, or you're doing anything that shocks yourself, and you're surprised you're doing so well, or you look so good, if you ever utter the words, dang, I look great today. Yeah, it's a ghost. You're looking at a ghost. That's not you. All right, the next video is from Katie. So thank you, Katie, for submitting this story. It definitely freaked me out because when I was growing up, dream is something that's always really creepy to me because sometimes dreams could be so incredibly real. Like when I was growing up, I had a couple instances where I think it was night terror, but I wasn't 100% sure. All I remember is I was sleeping and then my parents were trying to wake me up, but I was talking to them, but I was dreaming at the same time. I could see myself talking to them, but I could also see myself dreaming. And I was telling my dad that he wasn't really my dad. I mean, it could have been some like reincarnation stuff. Like, I don't know what it was, but I had 2 instances like that. And it scared the heck out of me. It scared the heck out of my parents. Both of them happened to me when I was about 8 or 9 years old. Never happened again after that. But it was so incredibly scary. So any stories that has to do with dreams and dreaming, like it just freaks me out. So that's why Katie's story stood out to me. And here's what happened. So Katie and her family lives in an old house that was passed down by their grandparents. And while living there, she and her family all experienced creepy stuff that happened in the house. I mean, come on, it's an old house. Usually they're haunted, so you're gonna see or feel some creepy stuff. But one day when Katie was asleep, she had a dream. But what was really weird about this dream, besides it being so realistic, was that she was dreaming of herself sleeping in the exact room and bed that she was having this dream from. In the dream, she saw a figure wearing a long flowing gown, but it was covered in dirt. And this figure, Katie could tell, was a female. And it was sitting in the corner of the room right beside the bedroom door. And this figure had the creepiest sunken in face, and her face with long messy hair covering part of it. And the scary thing was that the figure saw that Katie was looking at her, so she immediately lifted her head and stared at Katie and asked her, "You can see me?" So Katie, not thinking much of it in her dream, said, "Yeah, I can see you." To which the figure replied, very calmly, if Katie could do her a favor. See, Katie, never ever do them a favor, ever. You'll become like that Sixth Sense kid, you know, like every ghost is asking for a favor. Also, you know what's really strange about that with all the ghosts? You guys remember that movie? When all the ghosts are asking this little kid for favors, but they're not just like coming to him in the daytime, like knock on the door, be like, "Hey man, I don't know if I could bother you to just help me out a little bit. My stepmom killed me. All you gotta do is go find that videotape." The way they did it was, "Hey, I need you to do me a favor. So first, let me scare you until you puke. And then I'm gonna ask you for a favor." Oh wow, I guess Katie never saw The Sixth Sense. He sees dead people. Anyway, once Katie told the figure in the gown that she would do her a favor, the figure told Katie that she needed to find her bones because it was buried somewhere on the property. So then Katie in her dream actually started to look around for the bones, but she got this sinking feeling that she would never be able to find them. So she asked the figure, "What happens if I can't find your bones?" So then she saw the figure flash an amazingly evil grin and started to cackle. And Katie was all of a sudden filled with overwhelming dread. The cackle was so unnerving, so twisted. Katie in her message to me said she could still hear it in her mind today as she was writing this story. After the figure in the gown stopped, she told Katie that if she could not find her bones, she was gonna hurt her brother, who was actually asleep in the same room. So then Katie in her dream started to cry and told the woman that she was not able to find her bones, that she looked everywhere for them, but she still couldn't find them. But the figure kept cackling and moved towards her sleeping brother and ran a long fingernail down his face. And in the dream, a realization hit Katie. She realized that this thing, whatever it was pure evil, and that it kind of tricked her. It made her agree to help her in a quest that she was never going to be able to accomplish just to torture her. So then in the dream, Katie started to pray, but the figure laughed even harder, telling her anything she would do, anything she would try was completely useless and that she would never go away. That's when Katie woke up from her dream covered in sweat. She ran to her parents' room, woke them up and told them exactly what happened. But being Chinese parents, they just told her, "You know, do good in school, that's why she come to get you." I was just kidding, that's not what they said. But they didn't believe her, so they sent her back to her room and back to bed. After that, Katie never slept in her room anymore, and luckily, she never saw this figure again. Until recently, she again brought up this story to her parents. And this was, of course, many years later. But when she brought up the story again to her parents revealed something they had never told her before. Katie's late grandmother used to live in that house, and she had the exact same dream as Katie. The same figure in the flowy, dirty dress asking for help to find her bones. And of course, Katie and her grandmother never spoke about this before because this incident that happened to Katie didn't happen until after her grandma had already passed away. And Katie does think that there is someone buried maybe underneath her house or on her property, and they won't be able to rest until someone finds their remains. Katie, I think you should grab some salt, some gasoline, and go bone hunting like the Winchesters. Make it like a family thing, just like them. Man, we're just learning so much today. Don't trust a group of pretty girls. Everything you see in a mirror in a creepy house is a ghost. And when a ghost asks you for a favor, the answer is hells no. And then you run. If I ever run into a ghost and you're like, "Can you do me a favor?" I'd just be like, sorry, no speak English. Sumimasen wa karimasen. That will 100% work because dead people ain't got Google Translate. All right, guys, thank you all so much for watching the video. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, person who wants to stay anonymous, for sending these stories. Again, if you have something really terrifying that happened to you or a local terrifying legend or something, send it to me and it might make it on the show. Happy Sunday, guys. See you later.